It is game on over at Microsoft, the software giant, putting the final touches now on Windows 8, hoping to turn Microsoft into a major player for smartphones and tablets.
Yes, Windows 8 doesn't come out until next year, but previews are already online. Joining us now is Jason Tanz. He's New York editor for Wired magazine. Jason, good to have you with us here this morning. So this Windows 8, what exactly is this that we're speaking of? No kidding. How updated, a version is this for Windows 8? Does this put Microsoft back on the map, so to speak?
Well, so by all accounts, it's a radical rethinking of the operating system. It's really the first time that they've designed an operating system that works on mobile devices like phones and tablets as well as the personal computer.
And so the advantage to that for the consumer is that you have this seamless transition, right, from your desktop to your handheld device.
Right, to the cloud. That's ideally, the way this all works. Now the challenge is, if you think about Apple's devices, for instance, they have different operating systems. They have the iOS for the iPad and the iPhone, and they have the OS X variations for the desktop. And the reason is because you need these things to run lean and mean, right? These are slim devices and they're maximized to run on these thin devices.
And there's all this talk too that this is really where people are headed. There was a study I think the other day that said we're getting to the point where people are accessing the internet more on their phones and their tablets than they do from their desktops. So it's funny, but Microsoft is actually doing their best to push to this sort of post-PC world.
Well, they are joining that fray, and it's been a long transition for Microsoft. We've been talking about the death of the desktop for at least 5-8 years. With web apps and things like Google Documents and stuff like that. Microsoft's fortunes have been very tied to the continued success of the PC industry, and at some point they can't fight it anymore. They have to try to disrupt that business, and it's a very hard calculation for a company like Microsoft to make because they are in some sense killing their bread and butter by this move.
It seems like they're a little late into the game, though. Why have they fallen behind? Is it perception that they have fallen behind, or have they really? Because all we hear about are iPhone, iPad.
No, they have fallen behind. There's this idea in technology called the innovator's dilemma, right? The change comes about through these sort of industry rethinks where all the old players get completely wiped out and some new model takes place. And it's very hard for an established company to participate in that because they have these huge businesses to protect.
And it's tough too when they started out as one of the innovators. That's the other thing we have to think about. Obviously, all of these companies started out as something, and that's a perfect example. How much, we touched on this a little bit, but realistically, how much of the future of Microsoft depends on Windows 8 being a success?
I honestly think it's hard to understate it. If you think about it, we'll start seeing these devices next year. By that point, who knows where tablets will be in a year, right? Look what's happened over the last 2 years. If they somehow miss this, if there are elements of it that don't work, if it's not successful, it's going to be another 5 years before they can try again. Who knows what the tablet market will be like at that point? So again, if it's not just a symbolic gesture for them. Right. This is really core to their growth.
Early review, thumb up, thumb down.
All early reports are very positive, actually, very positive.
All right, Jason, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.